In three, two, one. Welcome back to the Alaska Sports Talk Podcast. So glad to have you along wherever you get your sports talk podcast, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever. We're even
YouTube.
popular on other apps across the country. There's some guy in London or
Yeah.
girl that keeps downloading the podcast, by the way. And we thank you
Uh,
for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That time change has got to be a little screwy sometimes.
Well, I
It
mean, that's
must
the nice
well, it
thing
must
about
pop up.
podcasts. It's like on demand. Like,
Well, and it
Hey,
must
listen when
pop
you
up in the
want.
middle of the day because we
Isaiah,
release it at night, and then it must pop up, right around lunchtime in London.
Isaiah.
Oh, look. Yeah.
So my brother Calvin, he was in London yesterday, and I picked him up at the airport, and it was 10 o'clock yesterday. Like he went back in time.
Went back in time.
That's it. I mean, when you travel from Europe back to Alaska, it's wonky. Like, there's that it's 10 hours time difference. So it's just, yeah. You want to talk back to the future? That's it right there. Isaiah Freeman, Brad Lowers, Keaton Homer along with you. Glad to have you along once again here on AST. Obviously, a big week last week in terms of state championships, flag football state championships. There was also tennis state championships happening as well. Football playoffs continuing through the semifinals for D1. Division 3 and Division 2 are going to have their state championships coming up here this weekend on Friday and Saturday as
Hmm.
well. UAA Volleyball back at home after their road trip, which they went 1-1 on the road. Or I guess if you want to go through the complete three-game stand, they went 1-2 through their three ranked opponents. Now back at home as they get ready to take on Central Washington and Northwest Nazarene. But first things first, guys, I know Mariner fans. You guys
Oh,
are,
you know it.
I don't
You
know if
know
you're
it.
getting your hopes up or not. I mean, never been to the World Series. You're two games
That
away. How
that
are you feeling,
15th
Isaiah?
that 15th inning game was crazy. I was at the Wolverines game, and I am proud to say that I was not the only one that was on their phone during the hockey game. You're watching the hockey game, and people had their phones out like this, watching the hockey game and going like this, watching it. And when the Mariners scored that winning run, man, you could see who was watching it. People started yelling because it was during intermission. People started yelling. It was it was great. We all high-fiving each other in the stands, and it's intermission. People are probably wondering some people were wondering what was going on, but it was amazing.
Hey, Keaton, I was up in Wasilla doing the championship flag football game, and I didn't finish that up until about the eighth inning. And I was so excited that they were tied. I got lost going to our favorite sports bar up there and just started running into restaurants. Apparently, at the sushi place, so they don't have TVs, and at the
Oof.
Chinese place, they couldn't get the coverage. So I got it on my radio. And the reality is, if I'd have started driving home in the eighth inning, I could have watched the end at home.
Yeah,
But
very
in the
true.
meantime, I finally found the sports bar. Three guys yelling at the screen. Wasilla volleyball staff there. They were ready to kick us out, and we said not till one more run. But it's four letters: EPIC, epic.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was incredible.
Yeah, 15 inning game. I mean, it's just crazy. And for that game to be the one that you advanced to the ALCS, and now Mariners up 2-0 on Toronto to start the ALCS, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just waiting as that pessimist guy. I'm not
Oh,
a
you're not
Mariner
the only
fan.
one.
Well, I'm just like, come on, I want to see the implosion. I just want
I'm
to,
I'm
come
I'm kind
on.
of waiting for it. That's been his. The Mariners have never been up 2-0 or have a 2-game lead in the ALCS. It's never
Yeah,
happened in the history of the Mariners.
history,
So yeah,
history is being made. So
that's right.
you
Cal
know what
Raleigh,
the
big dumper.
the big change for the Seattle Mariners? Dave Sims, the play-by-play guy, right?
Yeah.
Leave Seattle this past year to go to New York. Look, the Yankees are out of the playoffs. I feel for Dave Sims. I think Dave Sims is probably like, what in the world? Am I cursed? Like, spent all that time
Probably
there in Seattle, like 15 plus years being
long
the
time.
play-by-play voice. And yeah,
He
now
was there
look,
through some lean years.
yeah, yeah,
Lean
yeah,
years.
he was. So, anyway, so all you Mariners fans, enjoy it while it lasts. So it could run out soon. Who knows? But
It could,
what's
or it could be the greatest story ever told.
it?
And I think it's going to be the greatest
Yeah.
story ever told.
I
That's
Okay.
what
like
I
that.
think.
Okay. All right. I like
Yep.
the optimism. I do like the optimism.
I have to. I
Uh,
can't go to the dark place.
yes. don't don't go down there.
I
Don't go
can't go
down.
to the dark
No.
place.
No. Well, stick here with us in the light, Isaiah, as
Right?
we
I'm
travel.
following the light.
Okay.
Run
Following the
to the
light.
So,
light.
Brad, you mentioned that you were out in the valley last week and covering flag football. Obviously, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, huge flag football days. Flag football galore out there, and a new state champion this year. Brad, kind of recap some of the action for us.
Yeah, just the second annual state championship. And I think Wasilla really was the dominant team over the course of the season. Um, Diamond and South were the class of the Cook Inlet Conference, so that's the way they went into the tournament. Wasilla was upset by North Pole in the last game of their region tournament. CIC didn't have a region tournament, but the net result was North Pole, by virtue of that upset, gets the number one seed. And the two number one teams in each conference was happened to be Diamond and Wasilla. They end up meeting in the semifinals. Um, Wasilla scored over 41 points in one game against Diamond, over 50 in another. And yet, Diamond scored on the second play of the game. I think jumped to a 27-0 lead. Wasilla got a couple late touchdowns, but pretty amazing to have that kind of turnaround. And then South on the other side just easily won their second game. They caught a service team that they just beaten by 30, a week earlier, and they just marched through them. And then it was South and Diamond, a rivalry in the finals, but I think Diamond left a lot of it on the field in that semifinal game, and South was really in control from start to finish. They ended up shutting Diamond down, and congratulations to the South Anchorage Wolverines, very deserving. Remember just a year ago they went to Nike Town and showed well for the state, and then they come back and win state this year. So real great accomplishments for that program.
Yeah, South in their 3 games in the course of that championship, en route to their championship, they scored 103 points combined, 32 against Colony, 51 against Service, and then 19 against Diamond in the championship game. So they had the offense rolling. Diamond had their offense going too. I mean, they had that 44-0 victory against Bartlett in the opening round, and the 27 points they put up against Wasilla. But I think you're right, Brad. Just in that semifinal, playing one of the top teams, and Diamond just kind of ran out of gas. It seemed like. So Diamond taking home second place in this year's state tournament. Wasilla ends up picking up third after a 58-0 victory over Service. So South winning the state title. Does anybody remember before the whole state championship, did South win some titles like the conference title or the region title, however they named that? Does anybody remember? I can't remember if
I
South did.
I think one time
Yeah.
is my recollection. And then really only being in championship games, once or twice over that span of time. West is a team that was in the championship a great number of times, and then
Yeah.
Diamond with 11 titles and a couple runner-up. So
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, there for a while it was Diamond, GNAC in the late 2000s, and then South. I think you're right. I think not too long ago. I don't think.
Yeah, you want to go back that far. You take Chugiak a couple times in a row when it started off.
Yeah.
With somebody named Kelter and Kelter. I don't know. All you got to do
Maybe
is
we've heard of them.
Yeah.
Huffer's their PR agents. And then
Huh.
Steve Stansbury at Bartlett
Yeah.
with the blue suit on the sideline. He had, I think, back to back. And, after that, it's kind of waiting for see who would really establish it. And it turned out to be Diamond. But really, you look all over, the soccer players were starting to play flag football. Um, Volleyball was pretty competitive, but if you didn't make the volleyball team, a week later you were out there catching footballs, and turnouts kind of increased. And it's really been a great addition. And one of the things is there were some Title IX issues with, football. There's no tackle football for girls, and there was a little light participation in terms of matchups, and flag football became an ideal sport to help those things even out.
Now it's become a thing across the state. More schools getting
Yep.
into it, which is good to see. It's one of the fastest growing sports across the nation, flag football, and also one of the fastest growing sports collegially,
It
as
is.
a lot of colleges are adding flag football now to their repertoire of sports offerings as well. So, Brad, you mentioned the second state championship in the history of Alaska football or Alaska flag football. Not last year, North Pole winning it, and now the South Anchorage Wolverines taking home this year's state title. So, one state championship in the books with flag football. Tackle football started their playoffs last week as well. We'll dive into the quarterfinal round of Division One football that started last Friday and then went into Saturday. The number 1 seed, West Anchorage Eagles, taking on the number 8 seed Colony Knights, in West, keeping things rolling 34-14 as they pick up the quarterfinal round win over the Colony Knights. And then staying in the top half of that bracket, the 4-5 matchup, the South Anchorage Wolverines and the Juneau Douglas Crimson Bears, a 38-17 win for South. So West and South meeting in the semifinal. Bottom half of the D1 bracket, Bartlett and Diamond, a 2-7 matchup as the Bartlett Golden Bears, the number 2 seed, taking down the Diamond Lynx 34-18. And then the Service Cougars and the Betty Davis East Anchorage Thunderbirds. I thought I was going to have an upset. I thought I was going to call an upset. If you listened to the show last week, I threw out a prediction, and I am going to eat crow for this one. Either that or Service stapled, my prediction on the board there in the locker room or something. Service wins 34-0 over East, so they really
Yeah, we had a few comments online about that one.
did we?
Yeah, there's that clip of you making that prediction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was there
All
a
right.
dartboard? Maybe a dartboard involved?
But
I like
I'm
it.
sure. Well, in
Hey,
the
whatever
locker room, there
motivates
might
you.
be one.
I'm here for you. All right. If it's
Hey,
me that
Keaton.
motivates you, cool.
You know
Whatever.
what?
All
You
right.
really should be getting a card in the mail. Thank you. You really should be getting a thank you.
Yeah.
You
You
should
know,
actually you should be sending a letter of apology. But
I,
I was at that game, and I was on the sidelines, and I'm telling you, it was a popping game. East came to play, but Service, I think they had something to prove with their quarterback suspended for one game, and they put a running back there, Schmidlkoffer. Um, here's a running back that had a pretty good season, but he's definitely a running back. He has trouble seeing over the line, but I mean, he ran from that position. He threw some big passes as well. They converted extra points, and I mean, their sideline was fired up. And I think when you're a team like East and you've had a tough season, when a quality team like Service starts to assert themselves like that, you're kind of thinking, we've seen this before, and you got to give credit to Service. They made it through what could have been a trap game, as you mentioned, Keaton, I guess you said it. So it leads
I
to
said
some
it. Yep. I
interesting
said it.
semis. Yeah,
I said it.
Yeah.
try to put
I'll,
that
I'll
on
own it.
Isaiah.
I'll own it. So the top 4 seeds making it into the semifinals of the D1 football playoffs. So West and South playing, and then Bartlett and Service, the 2-3 and the 1 and 4 taking on each other in the semifinals. Semifinals are taking place. Let's see, the 18th. So this Saturday, the 18th, right? Do I got my calendar dates right? I think I do. Pretty sure I do.
Yeah, the 18th is when the D1 semis are.
Yeah, I was just making sure it wasn't Friday. I wasn't like, planning ahead
Isaiah,
or something like that.
those times are lined up where you can get to both of those games if you want to see both D1 semifinals.
Yeah,
right?
one's at, one of them is at 1, and then the other one's at 7. So they do line up where you could watch both if you wanted to.
Yeah, West and South at 7, and then Bartlett service at 1 o'clock. And remember, there's not a neutral site for these semifinal games as of yet. These are being hosted by the higher seeds. So the
Correct.
West and South matchup is taking place at West High School. The Bartlett service game, Bartlett's the 2 seed, so the Bartlett Golden Bears are hosting service. So if you're kind of wondering, well, where the games are at, well, the higher seeds still hosting until the championship game next weekend on the 24th, which is going to be out at Colony High School. So just keep that in mind if you're looking for where the games are happening exactly.
Well, one of the things we talk about it, and we mentioned it before, but West has lights. So
True.
if there's a conflict there, they're either going to play 7 Friday or 7 Saturday if they want to keep the games off one another. Bartlett does not have lights.
And that's why the game's at 1 p.m.
Play a game on, Friday, so you'd be mid-afternoon or early afternoon Saturday. But as a fan, you got to like that.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, it gives you a chance to go check out both semifinals. Speaking of that, lights, did they stay on for you, Brad, out at service?
They did stay on.
Oh, okay.
And, we're always tracking, and we have some insight on how that all transcribed. And there's some feeling that it might not have been entirely intentional.
Oh.
But, there's some theories out there. So.
Okay. All right.
I'm sworn to secrecy.
You're sworn to secrecy. All right. So.
Doesn't always mean much with me.
All right. All right. Well, once we get more concrete news, I guess, or information, maybe we can pass it along to see what happened. If you're wondering what happened, just go back a couple of episodes ago, and we talked about what happened when the lights went out in the South, and they had to finish up a game on Sunday. So
lights went out in Georgia.
Yeah.
You ever watch Dateline?
Oh yeah, all the time.
And you know how they get caught on Dateline. There's always a camera.
Always a camera.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So West and South again, your semifinal matchups. That game at 7 o'clock at West Anchorage High School, and Bartlett and Service 1 o'clock. That game at Bartlett High School. I'm trying to pull up the scores from earlier this year when those teams played, and I'm trying to track it down. Oh, come on! Anybody got it handy off the top of their head there? I can't. Stats and research is failing us here. So.
Who's West, South?
Yeah, West and South, and then
that's a 14-8. It was the beginning game of the season. It was played at South.
There we go.
So a one possession game there, and one of the scores for West was a pick six. So really, both teams had changed a lot during the course of the season. I think South becoming more confident. I think, West might have got some of that swagger back, winning the first round. And now that you're in the top 4, that'll be an interesting game at the Nest on Hillcrest.
Yeah, and that Bartlett service matchup, I forgot all about that. It was mid-season, back the second week of September, and it was an overtime game. If you remember that, it was a 12-6 overtime win for Bartlett. So we'll see what happens here the second go-around. I can't remember, Brad, if the starting quarterback, Rock Phelps, was playing in that game or not. Because remember, there was a couple of weeks where he missed.
He was playing that game, and actually, I saw the first half of that game. Bartlett didn't have that many completions. I'm not talking passing completions. I'm talking center to quarterback. And, when that happens in the middle of a drive, that's a killer. And then Service, Rock, who you mentioned was playing. It's a game he would like to forget. He threw 3 interceptions in the first half. So that I never like to leave a game early, but I felt justified in leaving at the half.
Leave at the half, and then he missed overtime. So, I mean,
yeah. So I guess it wasn't quite the half.
Yeah. So it'll set the stage for some interesting semifinal matchups again coming up this Saturday. So Division Two, they don't have the quarterfinal round this year. Second year in a row that they've gone without the quarterfinal round. So they advance right into the semifinals. Top four teams out of Division Two. So Soldotna and West Valley went at it, and Palmer and Lathrop. Soldotna and West Valley in a close regular season game in which Soldotna won 28-21. A little bit of a wider margin of victory this go around for Soldotna as they won 38-14 down in Soldotna. That regular season game against West Valley took place up in Fairbanks, by the way, just a couple of weeks ago. And then Palmer and Lathrop, a barn burner as Lathrop pulls it out by three, 38-35 over the Palmer Moose. So it sets the stage for what seems to be the state championship game almost year in and year out in Division Two.
Yeah.
Soldotna and Lathrop, the one seed, Soldotna, Lathrop, the number three seed. The state championship game being played this Friday out at Colony High School. 7 o'clock is the time of opening kickoff. And it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. I know that Lathrop beat Soldotna last year in the regular season. Soldotna ended up getting the best of them in the playoffs, and now they meet here again in the championship game. It'll be another classic matchup, it seems like.
Keaton, you fly to Fairbanks, you jump off the plane, you drive down Airport Way, and as you get toward downtown Fairbanks, you'll find the oldest high school, Lathrop High School, and you walk the halls of Lathrop High School, and you're going to see as good athletes as you will in any school in the state. Mm-hmm. And I think over the course of the season, takes a little while to pull those athletes together. But as you mentioned, they've been able to get to the championship game. And even though they didn't have the best season, maybe once again, it sounds like they played one of the more exciting games. We had a lot of games that weren't that close thus far, but they played a close one. And what they won is a chance to play the team that's kind of been dominant in recent years and see what kind of shot they can take against Soldotna, who rarely shows weakness. And we've talked about if there is a weakness, it might be on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think Soldotna, their defense just hasn't been. I mean, I know they only gave up 14 points against West Valley, which is not a lot. Only giving up 2 scores. Anytime you can do that, you're probably going to win a majority of your football games. But Soldotna, when their heyday, I can't even say heyday because it's still continuing. Their dominance, over the last few years, it just seemed like, oh, we're giving up 6 points, 0 points, that kind of thing. I mean, they gave up, what was it, 40? I know it was the first game of the season, 41 or 44 points to Palmer. I mean, you gave up 21 to West Valley a couple of weeks ago, but I mean, it's not about what you did last week or at the beginning of the season. It's what you do now, right, in the playoffs. And right now, I mean, in the semifinals against West Valley, they held them to 14 points. They had the offense going, 38-14, and now they get to go against Lathrop and see how things shake out. Does anybody have the score offhand of Lathrop so high from the regular season? I'm going to try to pull it up really quick.
I want to say it was 14 points, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, Soldotna won, but I'm trying to find the regular season score really quick. I think I got it.
You got it?
I think I got it. Yeah, it was 27-14, Soldotna. So a 13-point win for Soldotna.
Was that in Lathrop?
That was in Lathrop. It was in Lathrop. So this time they meet on a neutral field at Colony. So it'll be interesting to see how many fans come out. Hopefully a lot on a Friday night.
Well, last year it was only the faithful because it was very cold and the wind was blowing. And actually, Lathrop got off to a nice start in that game. But Soldotna, they wear you out. They got kids that have been running that offense since the 5th grade. They got tradition. They got a weight room. They got a plan. They have a philosophy. And they have some stability in their coaching staff. And seems like some of their players have been playing for 6-7 years. reality is, it's the brothers after the brothers after the brothers. And,
Mm-hmm.
there's no end in sight to the Soldotna dynasty. Isaiah, there's been talk about them moving a division, but they seem to like where they're at.
Yeah, football's a challenge. I mean, will they? I mean, there's always talk some years of it. I don't know if that will actually ever happen, but I could be proven wrong. I My personal feeling is I think football needs to be two divisions only, and then if you don't fit in those two divisions, you're playing 8-man football or 9-man football. That's we just the argument against it though is we just don't have enough football teams, so why why would you have all these big schools competing against the smaller schools? That's not quite fair, and you go back and forth on all that stuff. It's just kind of it's a challenge.
Well, I've always said, well, the last couple of years, particularly Division One, Division Two, they can be combined under one umbrella, and you can keep, you know, the conferences kind of the way that they are now, right? But you're playing under one classification, and when you get to the playoffs, you take the top four from what is now the Rail Belt Conference, you take the top four out of the Cook Inlet Conference, and now
And
we
you
got a state championship,
Well, and you
right?
cross bracket. I mean, years ago, that's what was done with Division One and Division or the two different conferences, and that's what was done. It was cross bracketed. I believe that was my first year.
Yeah.
It was still cross bracketed like that, but
Oh,
yeah,
what could have been? Yeah.
with the way some teams are dropping football and how expensive it is, and you know, could that happen? I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the problems with how it is right now is the regular season doesn't hold a lot of weight, and there's no games that are really, it's for seeding. But just like D2 is there down to four, if D1 went to four, you could play those championship in 2 weeks. You maybe stay away from the bad weather. You make the regular season more meaningful. I think there's a lot of upside. You limit the possibility of, say, a Juno having to travel, 3 weeks in a row, or there's a lot of upside to it. I guess people who see themselves as fifth or sixth in their league and missing out on playoffs or, whatever, they might not like it, but I mean, I think you're right, Isaiah. There's a lot of upside.
Yeah, that's just the age old battle, and that when it went to four teams for Division Two, there was a big kerfuffle about that, and the Division One coaches got together and convinced the ADs and APs to reconsider that. And I know that's not popular with them, but again, I know football's a little different. They don't have a conference tournament like a basketball or volleyball, and that's what everybody falls back to, which I get. I understand that. But you also have football's different than some of the other sports where you just don't have those kinds of things. I mean, at this level in Alaska, that's not something you do. Does that happen in California and Texas and other places? Well, of course. Well, they have hundreds of teams and dozens and tens of dozens of teams in a classification where that's just not the case here.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean, what's the right answer? That football thing has been bantered about, for so long, and really it's just going to ebb and flow. But I do think if there's more teams that drop, I think that's going to end up kind of forcing teams or ASAA to kind of reevaluate where football is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of years in terms of, these types of talks and things like that, and trying to every year, coaches, you know, want to improve the game. Administrators want to, try to improve things as well. So we'll see what happens during the off-season time frame and what kind of talks happen. But as of right now, it's two separate divisions, two separate championships, and the D2 championship taking place this Friday at Colony High School, 7 o'clock opening kick between the Sohai Stars and then the Lathrop Malamutes in that D2 championship. Division 3 also having their semifinals last week. Barrow playing host to Kenai up on the frozen tundra up
Frozen
in
tundra.
Diavik. And then Homer and Reddington in the other semifinal. The Barrow Whalers with the 14-point victory over Kenai, 28-14. And the Homer Mariners with the 20-point win over Reddington, 26-6. So the top two seeds in Division III, Barrow and Homer, battling it out this Saturday at 2 p.m. as well, as Barrow will, look to claim a state title. I think they've won a state championship or two before, if memory serves correct. Pretty sure.
I think they've won one.
Just one? I want to say maybe they won. Okay.
I
Maybe
think they've won one.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Got to go through the record books.
Yeah, that's stats and research.
Stats and research.
Bring them in.
I feel like when didn't Kamaka Hepa play a year of football?
Ooh, I don't.
Anybody
That's a good
remember that?
question. I don't remember them playing football.
Ah, man, maybe I'm just imagining things.
I think back in the day, they brought him out. He went to a lot of summer basketball.
Yeah.
He wasn't lifting weights, I'll tell you that.
It was all God-given, all right? I mean, don't gotta, it's all good. But anyway, I know, Isaiah, you're looking it up to see if Barrow's
I'm
won a
looking
state
it
title.
up.
I'm pretty sure they have. I thought maybe they won more than one. But anyway, I know that Homer has. And they've won most recently, I think just a couple of years ago, a D3 state championship. So it'll be an interesting D3 title game, 2:00. That game also, I believe, taking place out is that game at Colony as well, I believe, Isaiah?
The D2 is
D3.
at Colony, D3 is at Wasilla.
Wasilla, thank you. That's right. So,
and it does look like D3 Barrow won the Division III championship in 2017 over Homer 20-14.
There we go. All right. So we get a rematch from almost 8 years ago now. So see what happens here in 2025. So a couple of more championships coming up in football, 2 more semifinal games in Division I. Don't forget D1 state championship game is next week, the 24th, out at Colony High School as well. So that kind of gets you caught up in flag football and tackle football. There was another state championship this past weekend. Tennis taking place as well. I'm not going to give you all the results from all the doubles and, mixed doubles and singles and things like that, because there's a lot of them that take place and a lot of matches over the course of those couple of days as well. Surf on over to ASAA365.com to find out exactly who won all those, in case you want to get caught up on tennis tournaments and titles and things like that. I know West had numerous participants this year, and I think a couple of state title winners as well. GNAC had doubles girls players that won the state title for back-to-back seasons this year. So the Mustangs retaining the girls doubles state title this year. So check on all the results, ASAA365.com, to find out all the winners from this year's tennis state tournament. You know what they should do? I'm just throwing this out there to make it more interesting. They play the state tournament inside, right?
They do. Yep.
I'm thinking we just move it outside. Like, let's see what happens. Like, just one time. And
it should be straight up the week of flag football outside, right there on the park strip.
There you go.
Set.
I'm just saying, like, it could be another interesting element.
It would definitely create a little bit more of an element. That's for sure.
You think?
Yeah,
like,
just a tad.
You're kind of an idea man.
I am. Like, I'm all about it.
I like this idea, but you are an idea.
I mean, you got to start somewhere. I mean, like, I don't know.
It would definitely make things interesting.
I don't know. I just say it out there for fun, being silly. Obviously, it would never happen. I mean, there's no reason for it to happen. You can't have that state championship outside, given the elements and the things like that. So
I know some would like to move it to the spring and play it outside then.
I've heard that before.
Yeah,
I've heard that argument, moving tennis to the springtime.
I've heard that.
I think it just Kind of what baseball and softball ran into, though, a couple of
Yep.
years ago. I mean, just snow melt, though, I think becomes an issue. And
That's the issue, and that's why I really don't see tennis moving,
yeah,
and that's why I don't see really some of those other sports moving to the fall.
right.
Could it happen? Sure. I'm not going to say it would never happen, but man, trying to think of all the sports, if you moved the majority of those spring sports into the fall, you don't have enough practice space. You don't. How are you going to spread those kids
Yeah,
apart? That's
tough.
yeah. I don't. Oof. Chugiak track would have to make some decisions. Track and field
Well,
and cross country.
and there's some tennis players that cross over with track and field. So, I mean, same thing if it moved.
Yeah.
So then you have to choose a sport. But anyway, as of right now, it's in the fall, and the tennis championships just wrapped up this past weekend. So again, ASAA365.com, get all the results. Moving on to the college ranks here as UAA Volleyball, they were on the road this past weekend in conference play as they faced two more ranked opponents this past week. Seawolves faced three consecutive opponents that were ranked in the top 25. It started a couple of weeks ago against UAF when they were ranked 23rd in the nation at the time. Seawolves lost that matchup to UAF. Then they had to play number 20 Western Washington, then number 7 Simon Fraser as well. Seawolves lost in 4 sets to Western Washington this past Thursday. Saturday, they were able to get back on track against the number 7 team in the nation, Simon Fraser. They won in 5 sets. So the Seawolves officially went 1-2 on that road trip, but now get to come back home and play in front of hopefully what is a packed house as the Seawolves have Pink Night this Thursday against Central Washington, hoping to pack the Alaska Airlines Center. Pink Night presented by Aurora Integrated Oncology Foundation at the Alaska Airlines Center. Seawolves taking on Central Washington on Thursday, and then on Saturday we'll take on Northwest Nazarene. Madison Galloway, by the way, named GNAC Player of the Week or Defensive Player of the Week after her performance this past week against Western Washington and Simon Fraser. Get your tickets online. Go Seawolves.com. Should be some good volleyball. Seawolves, if they had a sweep against Western Washington and Simon Fraser, they probably would have vaulted themselves up in the top 25, but a split, so they're still on the outside looking in, but that win against Simon Fraser was absolutely huge to avoid a 3-game match losing streak and a huge, not just conference win, but also a West region win as well, just to get a win over a region opponent, even though volleyball doesn't have to really necessarily worry about regions or anything of that nature, but looks good on paper. That's for sure. So,
Keaton, I was walking around the arena today at the Alaska Airlines Arena, and I saw last year's Gatorade Player of the Year from high school volleyball, Alicia, who's really fun to watch. And we had a short conversation about how their season was going. She mentioned how rough that last road trip is, but pretty optimistic about if they play well the rest of the way that they would still qualify for the conference tournament. And of course, they're neck and neck with Fairbanks, and it seems like they don't always have good teams the same year. So kind of adds to the intensity of that rivalry.
yeah, you take a look at the GNAC standings coming into this weekend's matchups. Western Washington at the top at 7-1, followed by Central Washington at 6-1, Simon Fraser at 6-2, and then you mentioned UAA and UAF, neck and neck with one another. UAF holds the tiebreaker by virtue of winning that match just a couple of weeks ago. Both teams were at 5-2, and then the GNAC kind of falls off a little bit after those top 5 teams: Northwest Nazarene, St. Martin's, SPU, Montana State Billings, and Western Oregon, all with losing conference records at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, if UAA can, I'm not saying run the table from here on out, but if they can win, 80%, 85% of those games, they can certainly put themselves in a situation where come postseason time, their name can be mentioned for the NCAA tournament. That's for sure. So, but it starts this weekend as they take on Central Washington this Thursday. A huge match there against the Wildcats. So get your tickets online. Go Seawolves.com. All right. Kind of takes us around the world of sports or state of sports, I guess you could say, in Alaska. Brad.
As always, I have one more thing.
Okay.
And maybe one and a half, but
Brad's one more thing.
hey, So in being around Alaska Airlines, I was able to watch the girls' team shoot around. They actually had practice much earlier than they, way before I get out of bed. But in their shoot around, you saw some familiar faces like Elena Mack and the freshman from Wasilla.
Miley Anderson.
Yeah, Miley Anderson.
Miley Anderson.
So, it's hard. A lot of the teams playing at Fresno State this year, but if hard work can get it done. Coach Toon in his first year, just wishing them all the best. They've really established a great fan base, and I think fans. Hopefully, they'll be patient, continue to support them as this team. Like they said in Hickory, this is your team, and we'll see how that plays. Didn't get to see the guys practice, but a lot of local participation there, and they're going to be a fun team as well. I think we mentioned that previously that Ryan Swarthorpe had left the AD position. He's now gone. Tanya, is it Pond? Isn't it?
Pont.
Isaiah.
Pont. Yep.
Pont.
So she's the acting athletic director, but Isaiah and I were talking a little earlier today how Rusty Osborne has a lot of that institutional knowledge.
Yeah.
He's someone they can lean on, with newer coaches, or even if you're a 5 or 10-year coach at UA, Rusty's, 29, 30 years as a head coach and an assistant. So a lot of things happening over there at UAA. They had the chancellor change, but still, there's only so many universities right in the area. So we need to stay in support and help that be the best team it can be. That's high quality entertainment over there.
Yeah, UAA women's basketball and men's basketball. It's crazy to think that we're only a couple, 3 weeks away from getting the regular season underway in men's and women's basketball. So that is right around the corner as well. You mentioned, the Lady Seawolves and them practicing already. The first preseason coaches poll came out, by the way. Throw this one out there. UAA picked to finish 6th in the Great Northwest Athletic Conference. They received 62 votes, or 62 points, I should say, which puts them in 6th place. A team, of course, that last year went 16-2 in conference play and won the Great Northwest Athletic Conference. But a lot of new faces, obviously. Clearly, a whole bunch of new faces on the coaching staff. A couple of holdovers from last year's team, Elena Mack and Kira Stone, who's a redshirt freshman, sticking around for UAA. So it'll be interesting to see how things kind of shake out. And to your point, Brad, about Rusty Osborne, I think it's huge that he's there, obviously, in the not just as the head coach of the men's basketball team, but just as a guy to lean on right now in the athletic department with everything he's done from a head coaching standpoint to the number of boards that guy has probably served on. Not just at UAA, but also in terms of the GNAC conference and also, college basketball and things like that. Just the networking that he brings and the veteran experience he brings to kind of stabilize the ship as this thing is trying to navigate through some, unknown waters at the moment, I think is huge. So shout out to Rusty Osborne, being there, stepping up and, helping keep the athletic department on the straight and narrow there.
Yeah, he's I think with his experience, he's capable of certainly doing both those jobs. Kind of sad when you're a coach and practice is the last thing that you get to take care of.
Right.
But hard work and diet soda can get it done.
All right.
He's going to get it done.
All right. We'll be definitely talking about UAA basketball much, much more in the next couple of weeks and trying to get some season previews and things of that nature with head coach Matt Toon and then also Rusty Osborne and see how things are looking going into those seasons as well. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Alaska Sports Talk podcast. Big week this week for football state championships, D2, D3, and also the semifinals for Division I happening this week as well. D1 state championship is the following week, next Friday, Just throwing that out there to put it on your radar and on the calendar.
One more thing to add on the radar.
Yes.
The Fairbanks Ice Dogs and Anchorage Wolverines.
Yes.
Friday,
right.
Saturday.
That's huge.
7:30.
A little bit of a rough start for the Anchorage Wolverines.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That Minnesota team is now ranked number 1 in the Null. They're pretty good. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Had a couple of
Fairbanks Anchorage. There's going to be people filling the seats for that one.
It's going to be a wild scene in there. That's for sure.
Get their tickets online in advance, right, Isaiah?
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. I mean, I'm sure people have. Oh, Isaiah's talking. He's going to say get tickets online for something, but it's definitely the fastest way. There's no doubt about that.
I bet there's going to be some good tailgating scenes out at the Sullivan Arena.
Maybe. Well, it depends on if it starts snowing. Like I've heard, I think
the fans will still do it.
I've seen some forecasts where there's possibly snow on Friday, which we'll see. I don't know.
I don't either.
But
I don't think it's going to happen.
We'll see.
I don't think so.
We'll see. I expect a big crowd, tailgate or not. That's for sure.
Well, it'd be a great way to pick up their first win of the season. So that'd be huge to do against the Fairbanks Ice Dogs. So this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sullivan Arena. Get your tickets online. AnchorageWolverines.com. Well, for Isaiah Freeman, Brad Lowers, I'm Keaton Homer. We'll sign it off. We'll catch you next week here on AST, and we'll also see you out at the games this weekend as well.